We'll quickly run through a couple of sentences we did earlier and then continue. You see, the more and more you read this particular canto, The Secret Knowledge, he has packed the entire metaphysics of creation in it and its future also. This creation and its future, entire metaphysics. So I will call it really, Sadhavan called this canto as the Upanishad, Shivayendu's Upanishad in Savitri. But I will enlarge it to a much wider dimension than Upanishad. Upanishad gives only certain kind of metaphysical descriptions, whereas the Vedic descriptions give also something much richer than the metaphysics part of it. So I will call this whole canto as the Nasadiya Sukta of Savitri. Nasadiya Sukta, the traditional Nasadiya Sukta of Rigveda, hardly eight stanzas, 8 verses, describes how the creation started. And ultimately he says, who knows? Whereas he also does not know what is going to be the consequence, result, or where this creation is going to go. Whereas he also does not know. So he leaves it hanging. Now that hanging of the Nasadiya Sukta has been completely taken care of by this particular canto, the secret knowledge, you see. So it is a kind of completion of the Rigvedic Nasadiya Sukta, what we see here, you see, where it is going to go finally, you see. It describes the entire creation and what is the ultimate objective of this creation, where it is going to head. That part, Nasadiya Sukta of Rigveda does not speak at all. But here, we have got a very clear indication, and also says how it is going to proceed. What is the ultimate goal, objective of this creation, and how it is going to proceed, who is going to do it, in what way it is going to be done. That is what we have in this particular canto, you see. That way, the secret knowledge, in a certain sense, from a metaphysical point of view, from the thematic point of view, from the point of view of understanding of the entire mechanism, is central in Savitri. See. He has crossed the limit of mortal thought and hope. He has reached the world's end and stares beyond. The eyes of mortal body plunge their gaze into eyes that look upon eternity. Now, as I said earlier, this he, if you are in a kind of a hurry, make a hasty decision, then this he is Ashwapati. This he is Ashwapati. If you make a kind of hasty reading of this line, it would mean Ashwapati has crossed the limit of mortal thought and hope. Ashwapati has reached the world's end and stares beyond, which is of course true. But in the entire context, in the overall context of the Nasadiya Sukta, this he is the divine soul. He is the divine soul in this creation. Purusha. He is the divine soul in this creation, and it is this Purusha, this divine soul, who has now made evolutionary progress, that from matter to life, from thought, he is now going to the spiritual world. Mortal thought, he has crossed the limits of the mortal thought, that is the mental thought. He is now stepping into the spiritual domains. He is stepping into spiritual domains of realization. He has reached the world's end, this ignorant world, and stares beyond. Stares beyond where? This ignorant world. Stares beyond this ignorant world. Stares into knowledge. This spiritual knowledge is leading him now further to the Gnostic understanding of things, the Gnostic knowledge of this thing. Beyond. Stares beyond. Well, he is standing on the top of this creation at the over-mind level, which is still in the mortal world, in the world of ignorance, over-mind. From there, he is looking beyond. From the peak of over-mind, he is looking into the beyond, that is supermind, the golden star which is there up in the sky. he has reached the world's end and stares beyond the eyes of mortal body. Well, Mrityu Deha, which is our Deha, Mrityu, mortal, our physical eyes, mortal eyes, means the eyes of ignorance, of the physical, mental, vital ignorance. They are looking into eternity with his eyes, with those eyes, you see. A greater world, time's travelers must explore. University has already explored the world of ignorance. Has already explored the world of ignorance, all the way up to overmind. Starting from the inconscient, he has travelled, come to the world of overmind. Now, a greater world, beyond this hemisphere, he has to go into the higher hemisphere, the spiritual, the supramental hemisphere, Satchidananda. At last, he hears, again same, the divine soul. In other words, he is tracing quickly the progress made by the divine soul. Divine soul has come out to the immortal mind or the mental being. The spiritual man has arrived on the scene. Beyond the spiritual man will come the Gnostic being. So at last, hears a chanting on the heights, and a far speaks and unknown grows near. For the supramental, it comes very closer to him now and comes and grows unknown, becomes known. He crosses the boundaries of the unseen and passes over the edge of mortal sight. Again, you see, it says mortal sight, mortal eyes, mortal body, mortal thought. A greater world, time's traveler must explore. At last, he hears a chanting on the heights, and the far speaks, and the unknown grows near. The unknown domains of the superconscious world, Satchidananda, including a full supermind, Satchit Ananda Vijnana, that is coming. Now that is unknown to us. Now beyond this unknown, Satchidananda is of course the absolute, the unknowable. That is impenetrable, you see. He crosses the boundaries of the unseen and passes over the edge of mortal sight to a new vision of himself and things. Now the real purpose of this creation. What is this all this for? This travel, this journey, this long travel, for what? That is now becoming clear to him when he is getting into the higher world, into the superconscious world. The purpose of this creation becomes clear to him when he gets the understanding from the supramental world, you see. Yes, this creation is for a certain purpose. It is for the divine manifestation. It is not for dissolution ultimately, that leave it, abandon it, go away. No, it has to change. It has to transform itself into divine qualities. That is so. That is his vision now. That new things have to come here, and the thing, whatever is here, material object, the physical object, the vital object, the emotional, the mental, everything have a certain divine purpose, and the fulfillment of those divine purposes is what he is now becoming clearer to him when he is now in the superconscious world, in the world of Satchidananda. You see. To a new vision, he himself and thing. He is a spirit in an unfinished world. Again, of course, he is not Ashwapati. He is the spirit in an unfinished world. What we have got today is an incomplete world. It is a world in progress. It is a world in a process which is going on, which is continuing. The process is, yes, from nothing you have come to the mental. Now beyond that things have to happen. So that is the unfinished world. Now this task he is seeing now here. It has become clearer to him. That knows him not and cannot know itself. That world, unfinished world, does not know him, does not know itself also, obviously. The surface symbol of his goalless quest. Well, you go by outer indications and possibilities and try to understand that thing. The surface symbol of his goalless quest takes deeper meanings to his inner view when he is plunging now deeper within himself. Then they acquire a quality of divine significance, divine purpose, divine meaning, divine intention behind them. You see, they acquire. His is a search of darkness for the light, darkness for the light. Well, that is what he sees, that after all this whole thing is to go from darkness to light, from death to immortality, from pain and suffering to ananda. That is the whole process he sees now. You see, of mortal life, again for fourth time, of mortal life for immortality. So the goal is fixed now, he sees that thing. Now that becomes very clear to him, distinct, that when the divine vision approaches him, he has stepped into the supramental world, and then the entire significance of this creation becomes very vivid, very obvious, very clear to him. What for this thing? From mortal life to immortality. That is the whole purpose, the whole thing, you see. Immortality not up there, but here in this creation, in the vessel of an earthly embodiment, in the vessel of an earthly embodiment. Now, vessel normally, well, means the physical body. That is what it means. In the vessel of an earthly embodiment, he has taken the physical body and embodied himself in that body. But in the context of the metaphor which is being developed here, he is journeying, he is voyaging, he is traveling on the sea, his vessel is a ship. This vessel is a ship, you see. The ship is going on the sea, the progress is there. He is a voyager, he is a pilgrim, he is a traveler on the road of the upward, you see. So this vessel here stands for the ship also, you see, basically. This whole paraphernalia which is built around here is the vessel which is taking him on the sea, you see. In the vessel of an earthly embodiment, over the narrow rails of limiting sense, you are bound by narrow limit. Our vessel, this ship is by only mental cognition, bound by mental cognition alone. He looks out on the magic waves of time. Waves of time. Now that vessel and waves, he is traveling on the ocean of time and moving on, you see. Where mind like a moon illumines the world so dark. Well, what is this world here? In this world, what is the light of this? What is the light that shines in this world? It is only the light of the moon. Light of the moon itself is a borrowed light from the sun. It doesn't have its own light. It doesn't have its own light. This moonlight, what we have got, is a mental light. It is a borrowed light of the supramental understanding by which he is living, he is going over the narrow rails of limiting sense. He looks out on the magic waves of time. So, yeah, this is really a wonderful kind of a miracle kind of a thing. Magic waves of time. There is limited ever retreating from the eye, as if in a tenuous misty dream light dawn, the outline of a dim, mysterious shore. You see again shore, wave, vessel. See, that imagery is continuing, you see. Of the sea and the vessel and the voyager, you see. The outline of a dim, mysterious. So with the mental view, only I got, the shore is there, but I got only a very dim view of the shore. Mind, you see. Now that imagery becomes distinct, clear,